In the battle for rotation spots, Kyle Leahy took an excellent first step forward on Sunday against the Houston Astros. This is Locked on Cardinals.
You are Locked on Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and welcome to another episode of Locked on Cardinals, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. Thank you to our everydayers who continue to be here with us. Thank you to you. If you are new, welcome in. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation, giving you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. On today's show, how the U.S. men's hockey gold medal victory is affecting the baseball world. Not sure how many of you got up early enough to watch the game, but I'm sure by this point you know what happened. But holy moly, what a W for the United States to win the gold in hockey for both women and men in overtime fashion over Canada. Just incredible stuff. Just amazing to watch. But we're going to begin today with what happened on the diamond for the Cardinals, what ended up being a much closer game in the very end, as the Cardinals grabbed their first spring training win on the road against the Houston Astros by a score of 6-5 to even up their spring record at 1-1. Your starting lineup, different from what we saw in the first game, obviously. Victor Scott was at the top and in center. Thomas Ajayce was at shortstop, batting second. Jordan Walker in right field, batting third. Nelson Velasquez was in left field, batting fourth. Joel Pozo was catching and batting fifth. Cesar Prieto was at third base and batting sixth. Brian Torres at second, batting seventh. Blaze Jordan at first and batting eighth. And then in the ninth spot, a little treat for us on Sunday, and doing the DHing was Cardinals' number 3 overall prospect, Rainiel Rodriguez. So on the mound, you had Kyle Leahy getting his first start of the spring. Was very excited to watch this game after watching the U.S. team beat Canada. So we're all in a great mood. And this one, we saw more offense in this one than we did in game one on Saturday. But number one star of the game is going to go to Cardinals starter Kyle Leahy. Okay? I'm not peeling off the pitchers just yet. Leahy was one of the better relievers for the Cardinals last year when he made 62 appearances. 61 of those were out of the bullpen. Had a 3.07 ERA and an ERA plus of 134. But until 2022, he was a starter in the minor leagues, making 72 starts before they converted him to the bullpen in 2023. But last year, we kept hearing that, Kyle Leahy's got really good stuff. He's got the stuff that should make him a capable starter in the big leagues. And with the Oregon search of starting pitcher depth, they decided to, give him the nod at the end of the year last season against the Cubs when he threw 3 shutout innings to finish off his year. He's one of 7 names that are really in the running for the 5 spots in the rotation at camp this year. Matthew Liberatore, who got the start in game 1. Then there's Dustin May, who was the big free agent signing, former first-round pick Michael McGreevy. And then you've got Richard Fitz and Hunter Dobbins brought in from Boston through the trades. And then Andre Palante, who was here last year. Now, Libby, May, and McGreevy, they continue to be locks, but the health of Dobbins after knee surgery last year, and then Palante's struggles as a starter, has opened up the final 2 spots. And it was Leahy on the mound on Sunday. And outside of one swing, really, things went pretty well for Kyle Leahy. First hitter of the game was Astros star shortstop Jeremy Pena, and Leahy took him out in 3 pitches, which included an absolutely filthy sweeper that he swung and missed on for strike 3. He went full on the number 2 hitter, Taylor Trammell, before getting him to ground out, and then he struck out their center fielder, Jake Meyer, swinging on a sinker to end the frame. Second inning, he got the leadoff hitter to pop out on another sweeper, falls behind 2-0 to the number 5 hitter before getting a ground out. That brought us to Jack Winkler, who, when I hear that last name, I immediately think of Henry Winkler, who is best known for being the Fonz. But Jack Winkler comes up, rips the second pitch that he saw from Kyle Leahy over the wall in left field for a solo home run to make it 1-0 Astros. And it wasn't a bad pitch by any means from Leahy. He went sinker away on the first pitch, fell behind 1-0, came inside with the fastball, and you credit to Winkler here. He just turned on it, opened up his hits, and just smoked it for a dinger over the wall in left field. It was a very windy day where they were playing, and it was, to get one out today, no easy task. And Winkler, he didn't miss. Got it on the sweet spot. Didn't leave it over the plate. Kyle Leahy didn't leave it hanging or anything like that. Didn't miss a spot. Just a really good swing by the hitter. And that's going to happen from time to time. And what you look at is after something like that goes down, how is your pitcher going to respond? What's it going to be with the next hitter or two? And he ends up passing the test here by punching out the next hitter, looking to end the inning. And final line, he ends up going 2 innings, 1 run on 1 hit, no walks, which you love to see. And then 3 strikeouts, does it on 29 pitches. 18 of those were for strikes. So he didn't beat himself, gave up a run on a really good swing by Winkler. So as far as first tests goes, I would deem this one a success for Kyle Leahy. I don't see how you can look at it as anything other than a success for Leahy. I thought he looked good. He was attacking the zone. I think he made a solid impression for his first start of the spring. Now, again, we're not going up against, the full-on Houston Astros lineup. There was no, Yordan Alvarez in the lineup or anything like that. But at the same time, you got to pitch against what the other team puts up against you. And Kyle Leahy looked pretty good. So he's going to get my number 1 star because I know how important getting off to a good start is for the starting pitchers this year. I know the bullpen guys, they have a bad game, so what? They'll be out there right away again. But, the starters, they got to bide their time for their next start. And Kyle Leahy got plenty to build off of here in his first start of spring training. Now, my second star of the game is going to go to Sunday's DH. 19-year-old prospect Rainiel Rodriguez. We're going to talk about his strong spring debut next on Locked On Cardinals. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Of course you have. Why wouldn't you? FanDuel is going to give you a chance to actually turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Pay attention. You use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you're going to automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. So what does that include? Well, FanDuel's going to take care of your flights, going to take care of your tickets, and take care of the whole experience. They're gonna set you up, man. You're gonna be VIP, courtesy of FanDuel. Now, if you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is a perfect time to lock it in. We got some good games going on Sunday in the NBA. I was watching the Denver Nuggets because my man Nikola Jokic doing his thing again, man. God, is just a beast. But anyway, I love the futures this time of year. I think it's a good time, whether it's picking a time or a team to go ahead and win the championship overall. Maybe you're thinking about conference titles. It just adds an extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now not only can your pick get you cash, but it can also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On, the #1 sports podcast network. With baseball back, you can now lock in by joining our Everydayer Club, which gets you ad-free episodes and access to our group chat on Discord, where you can talk about your favorite teams with all of the other baseball fanatics that are around the world. For the next week or so, you can actually use the code SPRING, which is SPRING, for a free month. So go to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes for more information. All right, so if you didn't get to see Rainiel Rodriguez play at all in A-ball last year, or you haven't watched any of the videos this offseason of his highlights and what he has to offer, maybe today was the first time you actually got a glimpse at the #3 overall prospect for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he did not disappoint. He did not disappoint. First at bat, he comes up in the 3rd inning against former Cardinal Ramón Urías. Got ahead of the count 2-0 before lacing a cutter on the inner half down the line in the left field corner for a leadoff double. 106.7 miles per hour off of Rodriguez's bat. Absolutely smoked the ball. Again, leadoff double, so that kind of gets things going. This got the Cardinals' offense going and led to them putting up a 4 spot on the board in this particular inning. So you like to see that. Second at bat comes in the following inning when he fell behind 1-2. And I genuinely was more impressed with this at bat than I was the first at bat, even though he got the double. He had to work his way back into this one. He falls behind in a 1-2 count, fouls another one off. So 3 of the first 4 pitches are strikes, and he works his way back for a 7-pitch walk. Now, for a 19-year-old to show the patience that he did in this at bat, to lay off a couple of decent sweepers the way he did, I found this to be very impressive. Again, 19 years old. All right. How many times have we seen young hitters who they get up to the plate, especially in the first game of the spring, looking to prove something, looking to do some damage? They get a little over anxious and they start chasing everything, right? And particularly balls like that. Like, you can see what the Astros were trying to do. They're trying to get him to go fishing on the outside part of the plate, actually balls that were on the outside of the strike zone. And the young hitters normally, they will go after those pitches and get themselves out. We've seen it happen with plenty of Cardinals young prospects. Happens all the time. And Rodriguez in this at bat, like a statue up there, man. He was good, steadfast, calm in the box. Watch them just sail outside the zone and ends up getting the walk out of it. So I was thoroughly impressed with that, considering what level he is at in his career. Like, that is just not something you see from a young hitter, especially one that's used to doing damage all the time. You know, somebody who's really trying to impress people. For him to lay off that stuff, that was cool. Third at bat was in the 5th inning. Comes up with the bases loaded. Here's where you're like, oh man, Hulk smash time, right? Bases loaded, 2 down. Houston then ends up changing pitchers for Rodriguez, get a fresh arm in there. And normally, I would say you should take a pitch to see what the new guy is offering, what his motion looks like, blah, 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 blah. Plus, you got the bases loaded, so all the pressure is on him in a situation like that. He's got to throw strikes. You don't have to do anything. So seeing Rodriguez swing at the first pitch when they just changed pitchers isn't something I was a huge fan of, just being honest. He ends up hitting a cue shot on the first pitch, swings at a slider on the inner half of the plate, hits a cue shot over to the first baseman, who doesn't handle it properly, doesn't handle it cleanly. And that allows another run to score. I think it made it 6-1 at the time. So positive, he did put it in play, didn't swing and miss, didn't strike out, didn't go down looking, didn't go down swinging, forces the Astros defense to make a play, which they really struggled with on the infield in this game. But all in all, I would give Rodriguez 2 thumbs up as to what we saw from him in his first game. I'm excited to see more of him, not only at the plate, but eventually behind home plate with the catcher's gear on as well. So I thought that was good. And my third star, now it probably should go to Joel Pozo, but I'm not doing that. I'm giving it to my guy, Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker is going to get my third star in this particular game, and I'll explain why. And yes, this is a complete homer move on my part, because I am one of the guys that is still really rooting for him to break out this year. Not everybody is. Not everybody's in the corner of Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker. Some people are ready to move on from these guys already. I am not there. I, once again, would like to see him be the guy that we thought he was going to be when he was coming up and reestablish himself as one of the better young hitters in the league and a future pillar of what the Cardinals are trying to build. I think he needs to do that. The Cardinals need him to do that. It's not like they just got outfield prospects coming out the yin-yang here. They could use a big thumper in the middle of the order to go with somebody like an Ivan Herrera and an Alec Burleson. And Jordan Walker was supposed to be that guy. Has had a couple of down years after, a rookie year that we saw him do some really good things. So to see him have a decent day at the plate on Sunday, that's a nice start to his spring. Now, Walker went 1 for 2 with a walk, 2 runs scored, no strikeouts, which is key. First at bat was a single, line drive, rocket in the scorebook. But in reality, what really happened is he got sawed off by a sinker up and in, ends up hitting a dribbler on the infield towards the second baseman at a whopping, look out now, whopping 48.6 miles per hour. But as we know, Jordan Walker runs quite well. Huge man, huge stride, very fast. Ended up being safe at first. It's a positive. Shut up. I know what you're saying. Oh, he got sawed off. He sucks. Stop it. We're being positive here today. Second at bat. Comes up in that 4-run third inning with the score knotted at 1 and had a runner on first. swings to the first pitch, which the Cardinals were doing early on in this particular game. I forget what the count was, but they swung at like the first 12 pitches they saw in this game. Like, they weren't taking everything. Very aggressive at the plate. Jordan ends up reaching on what was deemed the fielder's choice and an error on the shortstop Pena. But, as we say, again, staying positive here. You put the ball in play and things can happen. And that's what he did. Put the ball in play, didn't strike out, things happened. So ends up being first and second after that. Nelson Velasquez would get an infield single over to the third base side. And then Joel Pozo ends up ripping that double, which scores to JC and Walker to kind of bust things open. Jordan's third at bat was a 6-pitch leadoff walk in the 5th inning when Astros reliever Cody Bolton took over. Bolton was the guy that had all sorts of control issues for the Astros in this particular game. He was all over the place. And Walker was the guy, though, that got things started as the leadoff guy in the inning by taking that walk, ends up scoring for the second time on a Cesar Prieto. Ground out, makes it 5-1 at that point. Again, Pozo probably deserves it because he got that big 2-run double. So shout out to him. But I'm going with Jordan Walker because I like seeing positive things for the big man who's going to be manning right field for the Cardinals this year. I don't know what Pozo's role is going to be. I really don't. We all love him. We all think he's a great guy. I don't know what his role is going to be. I don't know if he's going to be up on the main roster right away. Is he going to start I don't know. I have no clue. But big 2-run double, smash that one down into left field. So big hit there by Pozo. After the Rodriguez double, Victor Scott, shout out here. Victor Scott, leadoff guy today, ended up laying down a nice bunt to move him over to third base. And you had to watch on the Houston telecast today, by the way, and they were giving credit. They're like, look, what's the worst thing that can happen? As long as he gets it down, it's a sack bunt. But, with his speed, he could have it hit any moment. So great ABC baseball right there. That followed by the Thomas and JC RBI single up the middle to tie things up at 1 apiece. Us old school baseball guys, we love to see that stuff. You get a guy on second, and some people will argue like, don't bunt. The guy's in scoring position. What are we doing? Well, in my opinion, the Cardinals need to create more offense. Like, they are not a team that can just rely on somebody getting a guy in from second base all the time. They need that extra 90 feet, in my opinion. So to see Victor Scott get the bunt down, move the guy over, and then to JC to follow up with the single. Beautiful baseball. I love it. So JC also made a nice play. He was playing shortstop today and made a nice play and flip at short to start the 6-4-3 double play on Jeremy Pena, who runs very, very well to end that third inning when Chris Roycroft was on the mound. It was a nice little flip up the middle. So that was good. Cesar Prieto drives in 2 runs in this game. Cardinals offense, much better, as I mentioned at the beginning. They were 9 for 36. They took 6 walks, only struck out 6 times. Just a much better day with the bats than we saw in game 1. Pitching wise, I mentioned Roycroft. He tossed a shutout inning. I know I'm very hard on Roycroft. There's I just don't I haven't seen him succeed enough to keep him around, but they're gonna give him a shot. He's a big, tall guy, and he's got a good extension coming from the mound. So I see why there is still interest. I get it. But he's gonna have to prove me wrong. But had a shutout inning here today, gave up 1 hit and then got that big double play. So good for him. Max Ratchick, former minor league pitcher of the year for the Cardinals, tossed 2 scoreless innings. He looked good. Gerson Moreno threw 1 scoreless inning, and he struck out 2. We know how thin the Cardinals are from the left side in the bullpen. So it was good to see Nick Rackett strike out, 2? 2? There were 2 in his scoreless inning of work. So Rackett, I don't know, did I call him Rackett? Nick Rackett strikes out 2 in his scoreless inning of work. So that was good to see because, again, you got JoJo, you got Justin Brule, and who from the left side. So if he can be somebody that they can get some use out of this year, great. The only real negatives that happened in this particular game was the guys that struggled throwing strikes, which you're going to have in spring training games. Obviously, you've got people who are coming in and taking them out in an active game for the first time, so that's going to happen. And you've got guys that, we know aren't major league players. You got guys who were A-ball or double-A guys. Now, veteran Scott Blewett was one of the guys who struggled today. He walked 2, gave up 1 run, 2 hits in his 1 inning of work. And then you had Mason Burns come in the 9th inning, gets the first guy, but walks 3 straight to load the bases with 1 out. They had to bring in Darlin Saladin, I keep wanting to say Saladin. I don't know why, but Saladin, Darlin Saladin had to come in to get out of it. He gives up a couple of hits, and that got the game really, really close. It was 6-5. Eventually, they end things with a strikeout to get the save on a call that, may have been challengeable, but I guess the Astros were out of challenges, and then the guy didn't do it fast enough at the plate either. Looked into the dugout, which is a big no-no. You can't do that. So Cardinals walk away. They get the victory by a score of 6-5. Saladin ends up getting the save. So up next, we're going to talk about the updated pitching schedule for the Cardinals because they're going to be back in action for the next 3 days. And then plus how the U.S. men's hockey win is affecting the baseball world. We'll get into that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you've got to fill still sitting there open. Nobody's got it yet. So when the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, the skills you want, the experience you want, the location you need. So you're not just hoping for that right candidate to stumble across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through that chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. So go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show, Locked On Cardinals, by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. So up next for the Cardinals, they head back home to Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter to face the Miami Marlins. Former first-round pick Michael McGreevy is scheduled to make his spring debut. He'll be followed by reigning Cardinals minor league pitcher of the year, Bryson Motts. Andre Palante is scheduled to get the start on Tuesday when the Cardinals travel to battle the Washington Nationals. And then Richard Fitts will be making his Cardinals debut on the road on Wednesday against the New York Mets. Now, according to Rob Raines, the newest Cardinal, Ramón Urías, took live batting practice against Hunter Dommins and Matt Pushard on one of the backfields. So he's getting into gear for the Cardinals. Manager Ali Marmol said that Urías could be in the lineup within a few days. And even though he is listed on the roster for Team Mexico for the World Baseball Classic, he is expected to miss the tournament and remain in the Cardinals camp instead. So appreciate Ramon giving that up, making a sacrifice. So not going to represent his team in the World Baseball Classic, but going to stick around Cardinals camp instead. So that's good news. I like that. That's dedication. Now, speaking of the World Baseball Classic, following the U.S. men's 2-1 victory over Canada for the gold in overtime, there has been some repercussions in the baseball world. Don't know if you saw this online, but George Springer, who plays for a Canadian team in the Toronto Blue Jays, was seen taking at bats wearing a USA hockey sweater, which is pretty awesome. So good stuff there from Springer. And one of Team USA staff aces and former Air Force cadet Paul Skeens was interviewed today after watching the victory and had some quotes saying it's pretty cool. It's what we're walking into, referring to the upcoming World Baseball Classic, where Team USA will feature Skeens and Tarek Skubal as their top 2 starters. Not too bad for the U.S. to have the reigning AL and NL Cy Young Award winners as your top 2 starters. Now, in the past, as Cardinal fans, we've seen guys like Adam Wainwright, Lance Lynn, Miles Michaelis, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt represent the United States. Sadly, we don't have any Cardinals on the team this year for the U.S., but plenty of them are going to be on other teams in the tournament. Prospect Leonardo Bernal will be playing for Panama. Luis Gastelum, another prospect, the closer, who were in love with his changeup. He'll be for Team Mexico. Gordon Graceffo is going to be on Team Italy. Ivan Herrera was supposed to play for Panama. Matt Koperniak's going to play for Great Britain. Zach Levinson is going to play for Team Israel, along with Noah Mendlinger. He's also Team Israel. Riley O'Brien was supposed to be on Korea, but he's dealing with that calf strain. So we don't know if he's actually going to play at all with Korea. Depends on how far they go. Thomas Ujasi, who got to start at shortstop, but is also going to play some outfield this year for the Cardinals. He's apparently going to play shortstop for Team Italy. And then Brian Torres, who started at second base today, is going to be on Team Puerto Rico. Now, Skeen said that he watched the movie Miracle and watched the Olympics, and he watched the 2017 World Baseball Classic when Team USA won, and that he's gotten the chance to play for Team USA on a couple of occasions, but they haven't won gold yet with him. And he said it's not a good feeling to go to another country and lose to them. We're looking to change that. And on representing the U.S. in the tournament said, it's bigger than all of us. And you kind of felt that today watching the hockey game. You know, afterwards, Jack Hughes getting interviewed, the game-winning goal scorer for the U.S., about how, you know, I'm proud to be an American. This means so much to us in the United States. And, you know, very country-oriented U.S. hockey. It's a brotherhood. And he said all the right things. So to hear somebody like Paul Skeens talking like this about the upcoming WBC, you got to love that, okay? We may not root for Paul Skeens when it's the regular season and he's playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates, although the Cardinals had a lot of success against him. But come March, come next month, I'm going to be a mega Paul Skeens fan. I'm going to be rooting for him and the rest of the squad to pick up where the men's and women's hockey teams left off as the best in the world. And this U.S. team is stacked this year. If you haven't kept up, Skeens, Skubal, Logan Webb from the Giants, former Cardinals Michael Wacha, Paul Goldschmidt are on the roster. Mason Miller from the Padres, Cal Raleigh from the Mariners, Aaron Judge from the Yanks, Bobby Witt Jr. from the Royals, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper from the Phillies, Byron Buxton from the Twins, P. Crow Armstrong. I know he's a Cubby, but I'm glad he's on our side in this one. Will Smith from the Dodgers, Gunnar Henderson from the Baltimore Orioles, Bryce Terang, huge fan of him from the Brewers, Ernie Clement from Toronto, Alex Bregman, also a Cub now. I mean, it is a loaded squad. I'm not even getting into all the pitchers that they got. Loaded team. And probably picked to win this thing. I know Japan coming off their victory last World Baseball Classic, but I find it hard to believe they got a better team than what the U.S. is going to put out there this time. So I would expect them to go in as the favorites. Going to be fun to watch, though. It's coming up next month. First tournament game is going to be against Brazil. They're going to be playing down in Houston, the home of the Astros, on March 6th. Daikin Park, I think is the name of it. They change names all the time. I don't ever know. But that's going to be fun. I'm excited about that. They'll have a couple of exhibition games against some teams before they go play in the tournament, before the pool play begins. But March 6th. Can't wait for that. And once again, congratulations to both the women's and the men's hockey teams on taking gold. And congratulations to the U.S. Olympic team altogether as a country. They ended up finishing second overall in medals. So I had fun watching the Olympics. I hope you did too. Obviously, it's awesome when the last thing we see, USA at the top, winning the gold medal over Canada. Good stuff. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube as we push for 14,000 subscribers. If you never miss an episode, a reminder that Everydayer Club, that's your bread and butter. Right there. You get Locked On Cardinals ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com to join the club. Don't forget that code SPRING, SPRING, going to get you that free month on video. First ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel is where you are headed. On audio, make sure Locked On MLB is your second listen. You're the best fans of baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. USA! USA!